Lost Ark is launching on February 11th as a free-to-play MMORPG. Launch is perhaps not quite the right word, as this game has been out in Korea since November of 2018, so it's really kind of sailing west to us here. Lost Ark is a 3D fantasy MMORPG with action style combat that reminds me initially more of Diablo and your favorite ARPG than, say, EverQuest. The isometric view is really where the comparison ends though. This game is a very deep MMO. Developed by Smilegate RPG, this will be published in the West by Amazon Games. Yes, that Amazon Games. Lost Ark will ship with PvE, PvP, fishing, crafting, raids, dungeon skill trees, island ownership, harvesting, even sailing. There's a reason why this game has captured the attention of so many. It's coming to the West with a ton of content and years of polish. I can attest to the polish from my short time in the beta a few months back, which honestly ran very smooth. We'll see if the servers can handle the inevitable hammering they'll get, as every MMO launch does, but for now, I'm optimistic. I said I was optimistic about New World. I don't want to doom the game, but that's sometimes that feels like what I do here. They're launching with 22 servers. I hope that's enough, you know. But this leads into a little PSA here. A little PSA to be patient. MMO launches are tough. More people are going to be trying out the game than will ever stick with it. There's always going to be a rush of new players. There's going to be a crunch of new players that really test the servers and sometimes set them on fire. So please be patient. Please don't rush to the game and start pounding it with negative reviews because there's a queue. There's always going to be a queue. That's just how this works. Like, go into it with that preparation, or you know, like don't take off time from work. You know, just kind of sit back, let it calm down, and then play it at your leisure. Or, you know, this could all just be my evil plan to get you not to play, so that when I go and take off work and start at launch, I don't have a queue. I mean, that would be like a dick thing to do, right? But let me explain a little bit more about what the game is about, and we'll start with gameplay. In the beta, one of the things that struck me was just how important questing was to leveling. This did not feel like a go out and farm game, which are honestly becoming quite rare nowadays, with most MMOs going with the route of quests for experience. Lost Ark appears to do this as well, with a main story quest and many other types of optional quests. If you're familiar with games like Final Fantasy XIV, the quests seem very similar. The world itself, though, is going to differ from a game like Final Fantasy XIV, because it's a sandbox. This is not. My experience, confirmed by research, is that the game is confined or on rails. Don't expect to be roaming all over the world and doing whatever you want. You're going to be fed the paths in the individual zones, but they're large enough that I still felt like I could go places with some limitations. Honestly, it felt like Path of Exile. So if you're fine with those type of maps, they'll be right at home. The combat is fun and very satisfying. The animations are truly art and they feel weighty. You can pick it up and immediately start wrecking some faces, but it's deeper than a button smasher, with skills you may need to hold down or others that you need to combo together. Black Desert this is not, but I think you'll still have plenty of fun with the combat as you go through the game, as long as you enjoy action combat and can adjust to the isometric view. I need to get in and play some more, but when I did, it felt like a more deliberate and MMO-like combat when compared to something like Path of Exile. You feel powerful, but not like a giant ball of explosions. And I know I already said it before, but those animations, they're so fucking good. This game will ship with 5 playable classes, each with their own advanced class. The warrior can be a berserker, paladin, or gun lancer. The martial artist can be a striker, war dancer, scrapper, or soul fist. The gunner can be a gunslinger, artillerist, deadeye, or sharpshooter. The mage can be a bard or a sorceress. And finally, the assassin can be a shadow hunter or a deathblade. Each advanced class seems to have its own unique feel, and in the beta you were able to test them out before selecting one. The berserker looks pretty badass, just saying. I mean, they have a skill called Hellblade. I think picking a class is going to be a lot of finding what playstyle works for you, and you might want to play a couple to, I believe it's level 10 where you get to choose your advanced class. So play up to that level 10 and then test out the different types and see what fits your gameplay style. We'll move on here to story, and story is going to be important to Lost Ark because the single player story kind of sits at the center of the leveling curve. In the beta, you jump right into the story. Typical good versus evil, chosen one type story as you work to find the Ark to stop the oncoming hordes of demons. There's a story 101 on the Lost Ark website. I've linked it below, but honestly, if you're wanting to experience the story firsthand, I just wait to get in game because even the 101 feels a little spoilery. Instead, I'd suggest the Lost Ark Heroes of Arcadia videos on their YouTube. They're really well done with stylized art that I would sit and watch for 30 minutes. The next thing I want to cover here is the life skills. Life skills are going to be probably one of the hardest adjustments for people that are used to more traditional Western MMOs like World of Warcraft and EverQuest. You'll have multiple harvesting skills, which are referred to as life skills. You'll be able to craft weapons, consumables, housing features, upgrade materials, and more. Well, not you necessarily. You won't actually be crafting. An NPC will be crafting for you. NPCs will be found in major cities, and they will do the crafting for the things that you gather until you unlock your stronghold. Life skills include archaeology, fishing, herbalism, hunting, lumbering, and mining. Now, in my limited playthrough, I didn't get to dive into life skills, so I relied heavily on some articles to flesh out this section, and one thing in particular sounds a bit concerning to me, especially with the free-to-play title that has the option to maybe add some convenience items to speed this up or replenish, but we have life skills that are energy-based. The research I found had the energy bar being expended within 30 minutes of life skills, and then you cannot do it for another 2 days. So you wait for that energy bar to fill up over 2 days, and then you go do another 30 minutes, and then you wait for it to fill up, and then do another 30 minutes. So it's a much more casual approach to this in a way, but also one that kind of like encourages you to log in every 2 days and get it done. If you're going into this game just to craft, this is probably not going to be the game for you. Unless you only want to play for 30 minutes a day. You know, it seems like crafting will be helpful, and especially with things like potions, but not going to be something that you're going to be able to sit and do all day. And perhaps one of the most important things for people to see is the business model. Lost Ark will launch as a free-to-play title with optional in-game purchases and founder packs. The official Lost Ark website mentions that while it will have the standard fare like cosmetics, it will also have convenience items such as an auto-looting pet or items that will allow you to access your storage in the field. They have stated the following, which sounds a bit like a promise against pay to win, with one giant caveat. To ensure all purchases in-game feel optional, it is important players have a path to acquire all items in our game without having to make a purchase. Most items are available with crystals, which can be earned by trading gold at a player-run exchange. Any item without a crystal price will be traded via the in-game trading post. This means that all items will be available for in-game earnable currencies. Anyone who has played an MMO with an item that is translatable into real-world currency, think Chronos in EverQuest, knows how quickly this can get out of hand. It can eventually even get quite damaging to the in-game economy. I think a lot of that will come down to the potency of the items on the shop, and if they're really something players feel like they have to get to progress, or if they're truly optional. So that's basically it, a quick broad overview of Lost Ark, the first and perhaps largest full game launch that we're gonna get in 2022 for an MMO. I have higher hopes for this game than many other recent launches because it has already been out so far. It's already been out and been successful. It has a track record that we can rely on that, hey, it's actually going to be pretty decent. I'm willing to give it another shot after my lackluster impressions of the game in beta because I didn't get very far. But will you try Lost Ark? Is it something that you're interested in? Have you played it before? What are your expectations for the game? Oh yeah, and I'm totally predicting that Lost Ark is going to have a higher concurrent player base than New World by the end of the year. If it doesn't, clip this and use it later on Twitter, tag me, whatever, just so that I know how bad I am at predictions and I should really stop. My name is Redbeard Flynn. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you found it helpful, and I hope you will enjoy Lost Ark. If you found this video a little bit enlightening, please leave a like down below and comment with what you're excited about with Lost Ark.